Hey, what's up? Let's have a quick conversation about scabbing, what it is and why it's not great. So a strike fundamentally is a conflict between the labor force, the workers, and the bosses, ownership, the rich upper crust. Labor unions exist to give workers the power of collective bargaining and the ability to put pressure on ownership when they feel like they're not being treated fairly in the workplace. So if the union that represents the labor force has a dispute with the ownership that cannot be resolved, oftentimes that union will opt to strike and withhold its labor until their demands are met. Now, ownership needs that labor. They can't really afford to have production shut down indefinitely. So what they will often do is go out and look for non-union workers who are willing to go around the striking union workers and cross the picket line and fulfill their labor needs for them. And this is what scabbing is. And anytime people do this in any strike, it hurts the collective bargaining power of workers everywhere. The reason why I'm talking about this is because in addition to being a professional actor and a member of SAG-AFTRA, I'm also obviously a full-time internet content creator. And I know that there are a lot of full-time content creators out there who are not members of the WGA or the Screen Actors Guild. These are people who have been able to build an audience and make a decent living as full-time creatives. The AMPTP and the studios are going to be looking to these people to fulfill their unmet labor needs while the WGA and SAG are on strike. And I know that there are probably a lot of influencers and content creators out there who are seeing this as a great opportunity to get their foot in the door of the entertainment industry. And I'm just making this video to let you know that if you do that, you are scabbing. I've seen a handful of content creators and influencers saying things like, how can I be scabbing if I'm not a member of these unions and don't ever plan to be? Well, like I said earlier, most of the time, scabbing is done by people who are not members of whatever union is striking. That's sort of the whole point, is ownership is looking for non-union workers who are willing to cross the picket line. But also, I think it's worth mentioning that, this is not the way to get into the entertainment industry. You might be able to get a couple jobs and maybe secure a decent bag while we're all on strike, but once we win this strike, and we will win this strike and go back to work, that's it for your career in the entertainment industry, because if you scab, you will not be eligible to join the WGA or SAG-AFTRA ever. And I'm not saying that as a threat. I'm just saying that those are the rules. But even if you never wind up becoming a member of a labor union, it's still important to support labor unions. It's really important that working class people stand in solidarity with each other against corporate greed and wealth hoarding at the top levels of our societal structure. Because if thousands or millions of working class people flocked to occupy job vacancies every time a labor union went on strike, then strikes would never work. And if strikes never worked, then labor unions would have no power and they would have nothing to threaten the bosses with. And if labor unions had no power, then workers would have no power. So just I don't know, don't scab. Don't do that. Don't scab. We're gonna win. We're gonna win the strike. Hang tough, hold the line with us, stand in solidarity, be cool. And just really quick at the end here, if you are an influencer or a creator who doesn't want to scab and who wants to stand in solidarity with us and hold the line, here are some forms of work that studios might be reaching out to you to do that you can be on the lookout for. They might approach you with offers for writing and performing jobs, obviously, because the writers and the performers are on strike. But another thing they might ask you to do, because the actors usually do this for them and no longer will be doing this, is they might ask you to do paid promotional work for their projects. And if you take money right now from struck companies to promote their stuff, that's scabbing. So don't do that, please. Okay, hope this was helpful. I love you. Bye-bye.